So Leute, Station Nummer 1, wie man sehen kann, Mintos, hier ganz oben im obersten Stock.
Ja, hallo und herzlich willkommen bei Aktien mit Kopf, finanzielle Freiheit durch logisches und langfristiges Denken. Mein Name ist immer noch Kolja Barkhorn und ja, das Stiftfang klappt auch mit der linken Hand. Und heute siehst du ein Interview mit einigen Mitarbeitern von Mintos, dem P2p-Unternehmen aus Lettland. Lars und ich waren zusammen in Riga und haben die dort getroffen in ihrem Büro und haben hier dieses Interview aufgezeichnet. Und ja, ich mache mir dann eben doch nochmal die Arbeit und übersetze es für euch auch ins Deutsche. Also gut aufpassen. Und dann hoffe ich, dass dir das Video und das Interview auf jeden Fall gefallen. Du wirst sehen, die haben hier also einige andere Ansichten als zum Beispiel Pertel Tomberg von Bondora. Viel Spaß!
Interview 3, 2, 1, Klappe die erste, Action! Okay, Matthias, we got a lot of questions from our viewers on YouTube, but also, of course, of Lars' blog readers. For example, someone asks, how does actually the secondary market work on Mintos?
Secondary market works if you own a share of a particular loan, you have your portfolio, you can place that share to other investors, and this will be available on secondary market. And when you are doing that, you can add a premium or discount, or you can also share it, sold it with a pair value. So basically, you add your price when you have that particular share. You see what's the demand for that share, and you can sold it with higher price or with lower price or the same price. It depends on how fast you would like to get your returns back.
Yeah. So the faster I want the money back, the more discount I probably should give.
Yes, probably.
Okay.
The one question from me. Do you plan to implement a secondary market in your auto invest?
Yes, this is definitely one of our top priorities. Probably during the next quarter, and we have already spotted opportunities there, and we will definitely do that. This is a plan for us.
So I can say in auto invest then that I want to invest on secondary market too.
Yes, definitely. Cool. Because now when we replaced that commission fee, we took it off from secondary market, and also these cashback campaigns, the secondary market is more and more active, and more investors are asking about the option to invest through auto invest. So we will definitely work on that, and it will be probably delivered during next quarter.
Okay.
Sounds nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just when I was back home, I have to congratulate you because I saw you have passed the 500 million loan amount.
Or half a billion.
Half a billion. Yeah. Sounds better.
Yes.
Right? So yeah. So and new countries coming to the platform. So what's your the big vision for the future?
Our vision is actually, we can tell it in one sentence, we would like to become a global marketplace for loans. We as a market, and we connect these two sides together, these investors with borrowers from different kind of loan originators. And for investors, we would like to provide broad diversification, geographies, different loan types, different loan originators. So you as an investor, you know that if you would like to invest in peer-to-peer, you come to Mintos because this is a marketplace, and you don't need to go to one specific platform who offers just only one loan type. You come to Mintos, register there, and you get wide opportunities.
Okay. Maybe a quick follow-up question. What type of loans are there on Mintos?
At the moment, we have short-term loans, personal loans, secured car loans, mortgage loans, invoice financing, business loans, agricultural loans, and probably we will add some more loan types in the future.
Yeah, that's also a thing that for me it's good because if you don't want to use the secondary market, for example, but then you can diversify on short-term, mid-term, and long-term loans so that you always have cash coming in. Yeah.
Yes, you have a lot of opportunities how you can set up this strategies, using different kind of loan products, diversify across different geographies and so on.
Yeah.
Is it possible that you offer real estate loans in the future too, like Estate Guru at this time?
You mean like by issuing the loans ourselves, or no, because our main focus is a product. We really want to build a really good product for investors and for loan originators, so you can, with both sides come, and there's demand and there's an offer. So basically we focus only on the product part. We don't want to focus on issuing loans because it's different business model. It's, then you cannot add so much good effort on the product side, which is our main target.
Okay, one thing that we always hear also in the YouTube comment section, or when people see a company from the outside of Germany, they say, wow, this is it looks like a Ponzi scheme because it's so high,
it's growing so
return
fast.
like 12%, and it's growing so fast, so it must be some sort of scheme. So do you also get that critique, and how do you deal with it, or how do you try to give arguments that it's a real serious business model?
Just one word: transparency, and we try to add transparency everything we do. So basically every investor can go to our statistics page, they can download the list of all loans, they can go through, and we have these 500 millions invested during three years. So we have a lot of investors from more than 60 countries all around the world. So they trust their money to us, and also we have published our annual reports that are audited by Ernst & Young. So basically, what we try to do, we try to add transparency, which maybe other platforms are not doing in that kind of level we do.
So as a investor, I can check out those reports from Ernst & Young on your website somewhere, and
yes,
I can just...
they are available.
Okay.
Nice. A very interesting question. Are you invested by yourself in peer-to-peer loans?
Yes, only on Mintos, of course. But
Really?
Actually, I have a lot of accounts in other kind of platforms just for checking what's happening around and what are they doing, and yeah.
And what other platform can you recommend beside Mintos?
I cannot recommend any platform beside Mintos because I think there are no other similar platform, but because what we do, we provide really diversification. There's no other platform where you can get this kind of diversification option. You cannot diversify in geographies and the different kind of loan products. There are, of course, some smaller ones, but these amounts that we are doing now, I think at the moment we are the top choice for investors who really want to diversify their portfolios.
Okay. But you double your risk because you are invested in Mintos and your business is Mintos. So,
but
you have to diversify.
But when you are investing in Mintos, you need to think that you are not investing in Mintos. You are investing in loan originators.
Yes, that's true.
So basically, investing in Mintos, you are investing in 30 different loan originators for all around the world.
Yeah. And what kind of investment do you have else? Stock market or cryptocurrencies, maybe?
No, I'm not a fan of cryptocurrencies and stock markets because I think those products are more risky than peer-to-peer.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think real estate always is a good option, and some other kind of options.
Okay. Ja, das waren ein paar Fragen an Martis, correctly?
Martis, ja.
Mats, genau. Und jetzt haben wir natürlich noch eine Menge an anderen Fragen, die wir aber einem anderen Mitarbeiter gleich stellen werden, der einfach sich da mehr auskennt. Also bis gleich. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, wir haben jetzt einen kleinen Wechsel gehabt, wie man sieht. Jetzt haben wir hier Janis Pranjevic. I hope I pronounced that right.
Perfect.
Und wir machen natürlich weiter in Englisch jetzt und werden später weiterhin übersetzen. And we have some questions from our viewers and readers. For example, I think the most basic question of all is like, why should I get a loan on Mintos? Why don't I just go to a bank?
Sure. So that's a very good question. I think a clarification here is needed because Mintos is not a loan issuer. So Mintos is a marketplace for loans. We don't issue the loans ourselves. What we do have, we have a range of third-party loan originators who then offer the loans they have issued. They offer these loans for investments on our marketplace.
So why should I get the loan from those loan originators and not go to the bank? Is it not more cheap if I get a loan from the bank?
I'd say there are kind of two reasons. One is definitely convenience. It often takes quite an effort to get a loan from the bank, and with the alternative lenders you definitely get the convenience and speed. And secondary, there can be borrowers which tend to be called underserved by the banks. So banks, due to some reasons, do not tend to those borrowers, even though they have a decent creditworthiness. And this is a segment which the alternative lenders tend to cater to quite well.
So like self-employed people probably, for example, or?
That's one possibility as well.
Okay.
But on the first view, it sounds more risky than a normal loan.
Not necessarily. That's the thing with the banks being rather rigid and not being able to cater to borrowers which are actually quite creditworthy and just kind of do not fit in their model as well.
Yeah. Okay. So how do the loan originators evaluate the loans?
Sure. So for each of the loan originators, there's a variety of ways how they evaluate these borrowers, and obviously when we assess a loan originator whether to onboard the loan originator to the Mintos marketplace or not, we look quite in depth into those underwriting and loan issuance procedures to make sure that they are robust.
So you have some checklist for each new originator you proved before?
Yeah, I'd say just this like rather qualitative approach, which is also, and the kind of quality of their approach in assessing the borrowers is also reflected at their loan book statistics. And if the approach is not robust, then it inevitably reflects in the NPL rates, in the bad debt rates, and this is then what we also assess.
Okay.
Has it ever happened that you kicked one loan originator out because he didn't have the right assessment anymore, or because you disagreed on something, or had that happened? Or
so far we have turned down quite a few loan originators in this initial assessment process, and this is the silent evidence that the investors usually don't see. They see the loan originators whom we do on board, but they don't see the ones whom we turn down because either the loan book quality is not up to the standards, either the balance sheet is not robust enough, or we don't feel entirely comfortable with the underwriting standards they have. So that's the part where we have turned down quite a few loan originators.
Okay. Okay, so next question comes also from a reader from Germany. Is your platform yourself already profitable? And what volume must be realized to secure this goal if it's not profitable now?
At the moment we are focusing on the growth, but at the same time what the revenue that we bring in is rather healthy as well. And I mean that's what we can reveal at the moment. The audited financials should be out, I think, in spring. So then the investors will have even more information as to what the financials are.
Okay, so they just can see like a normal company, like what their financial results are. Okay, perfect.
Okay, next question. Next question is, what returns and default rates can peer-to-peer investors expect in a financial crisis, such 10 years before?
Okay. One thing that I would like to stress is that many of the loan originators that we work with have been working already through the financial crisis, so they have some experience with the default rates that could go up in the financial crisis. probably there's gonna be some uptick in the default rates. I mean, the borrowers to whom the loan originators, the alternative lenders cater to, are not that different from the borrowers that the traditional lenders cater to. And in that sense, the key to securing decent returns on the investor's end is diversification, because not all loan types will be affected equally by the economic turmoil. Also, not all of the countries will be affected equally. So this is again something that we promote a lot to the investors, that do not put your eggs in the same basket. Yeah, diversify.
Yeah, that's a perfect follow-up for the next question, which is what do you think is the correlation between like a P2p investment portfolio and a stock market portfolio? Do you think it's a high correlation, or do you think it's good diversification?
There's definitely some correlation, as there is correlation between stock market and corporate bonds. There's correlation between high yield bonds and the stock market. The same goes for stock market and peer-to-peer investments, because some of the underlying drivers tend to overlap. But then again, the fixed income investments tend to have lower risk, lower volatility. So that would be a good diversification for also investors who have some investments into equity.
Can I go back to the question before, because I have a follow-up?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
In a financial crisis, what happens with the buyback guarantee?
Yeah, so the buyback guarantee is secured by the interest spread that the loan originators keep to themselves. So they tend to issue loans at a certain interest rate, and a part of this interest rate is assigned to the investors. The rest of this interest rate or interest spread they keep to cover their costs, which also include the buyback guarantee. So we assess very thoroughly the first of all, this kind of amount of the interest rate spread that the loan originators have, and also their balance sheet strength to enable that this buyback guarantee stays in place also in tougher times. So we are quite confident that we do this assessment well enough, but obviously this again brings me back to the issue of diversification.
Yes, sure.
Because I mean, loan origination business is like any other business. It can kind of experience financial difficulties, and in that sense, the investor should diversify.
Okay.
Are there any potential like dependencies between the loan originators and the platform Mintos? I think there was this article in the internet that says that
very popular one, yes.
That there's one person or a couple of persons who work or who is behind a lot of different loan originators.
Mm-hmm. At the moment, there are no related loan originators as per IFRS to Mintos.
Mm-hmm.
So there are no interdependencies in that sense.
So, for example, there was this what's it called, Eurocent?
Eurocent, yeah.
Or a loan originator. So if they go bust, then it won't affect Mintos in it. Okay.
Not at all.
And if they, I heard it from a friend who also had a couple of loans from Eurocent, that now he starts to get back a little from. Mm-hmm. So in your experience or in your assessment, if Eurocent like makes it through and starts to pay back everything, will they be kept on the platform, or will you say the risk is too high and we can't take it? Or
I mean, we would again assess the loan book quality they have. We would assess what other sources of funding they have, so that Mintos is not the only source of funding.
Yeah.
So we would kind of evaluate all the risks and make a balanced decision. So
yeah. A compliment for myself. I think it's really good how you handle such situations, that you inform really fast about such stuff. So I think that's good.
Thanks.
Yes,
thanks.
very good. Yeah.
That don't keep anything like under the rug. So just tell everything what's going on, so it's a good thing.
It's a little bit better than in Germany, but only a little bit.
Okay, next question, Lars? Or?
The next question is, how is your actual default rate?
So again,
Percent, maybe.
yeah. So Mintos does not issue loans, so there's no like one default rate on Mintos, and obviously the default rate varies significantly from loan originator to loan originator.
Yeah, that's
There's a loan originator which issues, let's say, secured business loans or secured mortgage loans, and there the default rates are rather low. And then there might be a loan originator which issues payday loans, and there naturally the default rate is higher, but also the APR that they charge their borrowers is higher, so this offsets that. And the detailed statistics can be found on Mintos Marketplace website statistics, so you can see the default rates for each of the loan originators.
for each, okay. And the average one too.
That would be like average temperature in the hospital. I mean, you have fever patients and you have more. I mean, it would be very, very meaningful information.
Yeah.
Okay, number 11. So how much loans may be lost in order not to compromise the buyback guarantee, or how much loss is planned?
Mm-hmm. So this also is related to this fact that the loan originators issue different types of loans. Obviously, if you are charging low interest rates to the borrowers, then, and perhaps the loans are unsecured, then the capacity for increase in non-performing loans is more limited to kind of accommodate this and still be able to honor the buyback guarantee. If on the other hand the loans are issued with a higher APR, then there's more leeway. So again, we evaluate this safety buffer on the level of each loan originator when we onboard the loan originator, and we also do regular risk monitoring on the loan originators to ensure that they are capable of performing the buyback guarantee.
So what means regularly? Like daily basis, quarterly basis, or?
It's usually quarterly.
Okay.
And in some cases it's also monthly.
Okay. All right.
How does Mintos find so many new originators in such a quick time?
Well, we work hard to establish those relations, and I mean, we want to provide a wide selection or choice of the loans for the investors to invest in, and that's the kind of driver behind this expansion of the number of the loan originators, of the types of the loans they offer, and also of the geographies. At the end of the day, our ambition is to be a global marketplace for loans, where any type of loan can be funded by the loan originator and invested by the investors.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about the process? How you find a new originator? Do you Google it and then you write a mail or call him?
It's B2B relationships, and usually we know the markets that we have some presence rather well. So then that's usually in the form of introductions, and there aren't that many loan originators in any of the markets we operate in, and so we know the markets quite well, and the kind of cold calls or cold emails we usually don't do.
Okay.
People always say when it's when you give credit to someone, if people like get a lot of consumer loans and they already have maybe high taxes and debt somewhere else. So do you have like some sort of ethical perspective on your business? So is a borrower also sometimes denied a loan because he's already helplessly over indebted? I mean, of course, it's probably the thing of the loan originators, but do you have like some sort of influence on that process, or do you just say, well, it's the market, supply and demand?
Sure. So yeah, as you mentioned, it's not Mintos who issues the loans, so that's more of a question for the loan originators. And in that sense, again, when we evaluate the loan originators, sustainability is what we look for. And generally, we see this trend, for example, from higher APR, shorter term loans towards longer term installment loans already in motion in most of the markets we operate in.
Okay.
So I think this is just kind of a tectonic market shift that we are seeing, and more these loan originators gravitate towards longer term, lower APR loans.
What's APR?
Annual percentage rate.
Okay.
Effective cost for the borrower.
Okay. But the loan originator himself, he doesn't. He probably evaluates the process, like for what is the loan actually necessary for the consumer. And I mean, if he already has like a couple of banks loans, and if you can see, well, he probably won't be financially healthy. But do you know if they then have like maybe some sort of call with him and they try to sort it out some way, or do they just say, well, it's his decision?
Yeah. The loan originators do not want to lend to financially unhealthy or uncreditworthy customers. They then are likely to lose money on those clients.
Yeah.
So I would say that the incentives also on the loan originators' end is to do a thorough assessment of the borrower and lend to the creditworthy borrowers.
Okay.
But on the other hand, it's a reason for the guys who need money to go to the loan originators and not to the bank.
What do you mean?
When I need money and I go to the bank,
Yeah.
and I don't get the money from them, then I go to another company and maybe I have success there.
Sure, but this another company still has incentive to lend you money only in case they think you are going to pay back. So this I think is the kind of key aspect that ensures that the money is lent to those who kind of can't repay that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then next one.
Next question is, what do you think how government intervention can change your business in the future? Because in the last day we heard a lot of regulation in Latvia and Estonia. So what do you think?
All in all, we are looking very favorably upon regulation because we expect that to add an extra level of credibility to the investors and also to the loan originators. These are questions that we keep receiving, whether Mintos is regulated, and all in all, we would like to have this regulation adopted, and as long as the regulation is sensible, that's definitely a plus to all of the parties involved.
Yeah, and you are one of the biggest players in the market.
We are, and we also contribute actively to the development of this regulatory framework at the moment.
Yeah. Do you work together with the government in such things?
Yeah, we're in the working group.
Okay.
Okay, so the demand from investors is obviously pretty high, and the platforms are trying to satisfy their investors by increasing the quantity of loans. We can always see this statistics. If you log in to Mintos, you see like primary market and then secondary market. Of course, the secondary market is growing and growing, and then sometimes people worry, are there enough loans? Yeah, so now of course you have the incentive to increase the loans, and here the question is, does it affect the quality of loans altogether?
Sure. So as we don't issue the loans, then it's much easier for us to scale the loan supply because we are not constrained by our lending in, let's say, one geography or a few geographies, as can be the case for marketplaces which offer only their own loans.
Yeah.
So the loan supply on our marketplace is increased by also adding new loan originators, and there we can be rather picky, as explained beforehand, in terms of how we evaluate the loan originators.
Okay, so then you also assess, okay, if we don't get enough loan originators, in one country, then we just try to go to other countries and see what possibilities we have there. And
definitely, we see that there.
Because I think that's maybe one, because you always keep repeating. I think there's people have the wrong picture that they think Mintos actually issues the loans, but as he explained a couple of times now in this video, that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, if we see that there isn't much of a market for alternative lending in a particular country, we don't have any goals to have X loan originators or X amount of loans from that particular country. So in a sense, Mintos is to some extent a reflection of the alternative lending. Where there is alternative lending, these loans then can be funded on Mintos marketplace. So all in all, expansion of the loan supply should not and does not lead to deterioration of the loan quality.
Okay, we'll see how many investors come.
Yeah.
Okay, then. So thank you, Yannis, for answering a lot of questions.
Yeah, thank you.
The grilling session is over for you.
All right, thanks.
Okay.
For the most of my readers, it's very important to have passive income from the interest. Is it planned in the future to implement a function that they have automatic payout from the interest?
Yes, we are getting feedback from investors, and what we're doing with that feedback, we always save these ideas in our own idea backlog. So basically, if investor has give some kind of feedback, then this idea will be stored. And what we are doing, we are evaluating all these ideas and prioritizing, creating these roadmaps. What we are doing, and speaking about that, I'm not sure about exact solution how these investors would like to receive this passive income money. But what we are thinking from our side, we are also looking from new features that will allow investors to have more accessibility to their funds in Mintos, so they don't need to take them out, or they just can access them anytime they need. So I think this is related to this passive income, and probably we will do some kind of improvements in the future.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, speaking of new features, is it planned to build an API similar to that of Bondora to use external portfolio builder?
Definitely, yeah. This is also one of things that we think that will give a huge impact to our investors, and they will have better usability, better accessibility to their accounts. I cannot promise any date because we have very large roadmap with a lot of ideas, but this is also the thing that I mentioned previously, this auto invest for secondary market and this API, these are one of top priorities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Can you tell us about a little bit more about the roadmap for 2018?
Not for the 2080, but I can tell you about roadmap, about what we are doing now, and maybe some ideas we will work on a little bit in the future. So at the moment, what we are doing, we are working how to optimize, how to provide more and more deposit options for investors in Mintos marketplace. You see that at the moment for a lot of Euro investors there is Paysera, but we are working on that to add more and more deposit options for investors. Also, we are working on automation, how to get these payments more quickly to investors so they can get their money instantly. So this is the one thing we are working on. As other thing is we started it already last year. This is more analytics about my investments. So basically, at the moment, investor cannot see how his portfolio is divided by different countries, by different loan originators, but by different statuses and so on. So what we would like to add there, we would like to add some kind of charts, graphs with insights about what your portfolio consists of. And this is the thing we are working on. And the other thing is as we have a lot of loan originators and a lot of different kind of loan products that you cannot compare directly. You cannot compare personal loan with mortgage loan. There are a lot of details you need to compare, and that's why this auto invest tool, it becomes, I would say, more and more complex. Of course, it allows a lot of new features for investors, how they can diversify and how they can choose which loans they would like to invest, but this tool becomes more and more complex for simple retail users. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to also create some kind of new experience, new features, so investors can, those ones who don't want to go in those details, they can set these auto invests like with one click. You can choose one predefined option where you would like to invest, and that's where we are working on. We are analyzing what are the most popular choices for our investors and how they would like to invest their money. Also, we are looking on options how to better diversify this portfolio. So that's why we also introduced that feature when you can say that you would like to diversify across this portfolio, across all loan originators. So these are these three things that we are working currently, and about the next priorities, that this will be probably the auto invest for secondary market and API solution, but we are not. We need to finish those ones, and then we will get to the next features.
Yeah, the deposit thing is a very good idea, because I always hear from a couple of people that in one German bank, the Sparkasse, for example, they didn't let the money through, so people just want to make a deposit to their account, and the bank just tells them no for some reason, even though like Latvia is like
because it's foreign bank, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. Because it's a bank in Latvia.
Yeah, I don't know. It's totally crazy. I mean, it's their own money, and they want to send it somewhere, and the bank just tells them no.
Yeah, so that's why we are trying also to build some kind of diversification of payment methods we provide to investors, so investors can choose whether they would like to add funds using bank or some other payment service, and
Bitcoin.
They can, not Bitcoin probably, but we are working on that, so investors get more wider choice of these payment options to our marketplace.
All right. Yeah. Perfect.
And of course, for faster, so investors don't need to wait, for example, a day or 2 days. So probably get their money for some hours or instantly.
Okay.
So this is we are working on.
But one day is okay. In Germany, it's so slow. Maybe you need 2 or 3 days if you have your money on Aux Money or something, for example.
No, we cut that out. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you again.
Ich hoffe, Mintos konnte dir einige Fragen beantworten, die du dir vielleicht als potenzieller Investor oder vielleicht schon Bestandsinvestor bei Mintos gestellt hast. Ich bin selbst auch bei Mintos investiert, zwar nicht mit so viel Geld, nur so mittlerweile ungefähr 3.200 €. Und werde aber bei meiner nächsten größeren Investition so ein bisschen neues Kapital auch in P2p-Plattformen wie unter anderem Mintos und Bondora nachinvestieren. Falls du das Interview mit Pertel Tomberg von Bondora noch nicht gesehen hast, verlinke ich es dir hier nochmal auf der von dir aus unten rechts Seite. Ja? Und ansonsten bis zum nächsten Mal. Rationale Grüße. Ciao, ciao.